Peace, family. What is the deal? I hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome back to another practice. So today we will start standing up. Go ahead and step to the top of your mat. Rotate the palms to face forward and stand into a nice, strong, tall Tadasana mountain pose. Engage the legs a little bit. Feel how the weight is distributed in the feet. Feel the shoulders rolling down your back body. Crown of the head lifting, and maybe you even set your awareness onto the third eye center. Give yourself a few breaths here before we really get into any movement. Feel your feet on the ground. Let the breath move through you. Reach both arms up to the sky. And then fold forward. Remain in this hang for a few breaths. Option to grab your elbows, shift the weight forward toward the toes, bend the knees, and really feel the upper body hanging down. Sway side to side. Take a halfway lift on your inhale. Exhale, forward folds. Plant your hands down. Step back to plank position. From plank pose, take a push-up, drop to chaturanga, and then back up to plank. Drop the knees, drop the forearms, shift the hips back in space. Pull forward, upward facing dog. And then shift back, downward facing dog. As you get back to your down dog, lift the right leg to the sky for a three-legged dog. Bend both knees, and then like a springboard, drive through your left heel to bridge the hips up, and then step the right foot through to the top of the mat. High crescent lunge, rise up. Lift up through the arms, rotate the pinkies to face forward. Breathe here with lots of awareness and strength in the back left foot. Hands to the ground. Step back to plank pose. Take a chaturanga push-up, nice and slow. Come down and then come up. Drop the knees and forearms. Shift the hips back. Pull forward, upward facing dog. Take an inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, so you're welcome to take any kind of flow that you want. So you could take chaturanga into up dog. You can stick with the push-up. You can skip it all together if you like. Lift the left leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Step left foot through, top of the mat, high crescent lunge. We'll be here for a few breaths. Once again, we find the energy in the right foot and let it travel up the front of the right leg to the right hip. Bring hands back down to the ground. Step back to plank pose, take a push-up, or move through the flow. However you'd like to move through your flow or your vinyasa. To bring you back to downward facing dog. Once in down dog, inhale the right leg up to the sky. Exhale, spring your right foot to the top of the mat. High crescent lunge, rise up. Take a few breaths. Hands down, step back, and flow from there. Eventually landing back in your downward facing dog. Lift left leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Step through to the top of your mat, high crescent, arms up to the sky. Strong legs, open heart. Present mind. Hands to the ground. Step back and flow your way back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, lift the right leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Step through to the top of the mat, warrior two. Arms open, palms up. Find the present moment, find openness in your hips. Feel free to flip the palms to face up. Open the shoulders, open the lungs. Hands to the mat. Step back. Flow your way back to downward facing dog. We're not overcomplicating it today. We're just focusing on our practice. Left leg to the sky. Step through to the top of the mat. We might not have the most innovative transitions in today's practice, but what we do have is we have our ability to find patience and strength and calmness in each posture. And we embrace simplicity as a way to give our minds more space to feel into the moment. Hands to the ground. Flow your way back to downward facing dog. So by not adding in all these transitions, we just give ourselves space to kind of make it a little bit more like a meditation and less of a kind of movement flow, which is, not necessarily good or bad. It's just a interesting experience that we're kind of moving through right now. Go ahead and lift the right leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Step through to the top of the mat, warrior two. And I suppose every practice is an interesting space to be moving through. And that's what makes it our practice, and that's what makes it worthwhile, is that it's interesting. And if our practice doesn't feel interesting, then it's worth asking ourselves, what can I change about my practice to make it interesting? Where can I find more interest in my practice so that I can make sure I come back tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day? Hands to the ground, flow back to downward facing dog. After all, the word sadhana, as this channel is named, means spiritual practice. It doesn't necessarily, as we lift left leg to the sky and find warrior two with the left leg forward, sadhana doesn't necessarily imply that it's yoga or vinyasa or meditation. It just means our daily practice that connects us with our spirit or with something greater or with dharma, with purpose, with righteousness. And that may change as we move through the years, the months, the seasons. Hands to the mat, step back. We'll meet in downward facing dog. From down dog, right leg to the sky, three-legged dog. And then step through to the top of the mat, warrior two. This time, instead of holding warrior two, let's extend the right leg, reach the right arm, hinge down to triangle, either float there, or you can bring right fingertips down. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Try to keep engaging through your thighs. Hands to the ground. Step back, either right into down dog, or you always have the option of flowing your way to downward facing dog. Left leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Step through to the top of the mat and transition to warrior two, just so that we have our base to transition to trikonasana, triangle pose. Once again, stay active and receptive in the thighs. Hands down to the ground. Step back into your down dog or flow into it. From down dog, inhale, right leg up to the sky. Exhale, step through to the top of the mat, warrior two. From warrior two, transition into trikonasana, triangle pose. We're doing each of these postures twice so that we can not limit ourselves to one experience. Right? We don't have to kind of put our eggs in one basket, right? We get a second experience in all of these postures, and those second experiences for insight. You've been here once before, you've already kind of done the job, quote unquote. And now is where maybe there's a little bit more insight, there's more to be discovered, there's more to feel. Hands to the ground. Step back into down dog or flow your way there. As we get to downward facing dog, lift the left leg to the sky, three-legged dog, and then step all the way through to warrior two as you rise up. Prepare for triangle pose, extend left leg, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Take that length into your fold. Hands to the ground. Step back and flow. Downward facing dog. Lift the right leg up, three-legged dog. Step through, warrior two. From warrior two, we'll find our final triangle pose. So we are going to do a third triangle pose. Reach forward, but instead of reaching your right hand directly down, we're going to try to reach it across and then find a twist. And if you want, you can widen your stance a little bit. It makes it easier to do this. The ground gets a little closer. You can twist across the body with the right hand and then reach up and back with the left. Hands to the ground. Step or flow your way back to downward facing. From here, right leg up. Step through, warrior two. To transition into your final trikonasana, triangle pose. Embrace the twist. Get there. Maybe widen your stance. And then bring your hands down, step back, or flow your way to down dog. We're almost there, everybody. Amazing job. Right leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Step through. Warrior two. From warrior two, lean out, balancing half moon. I usually use a block here, but I'm going to challenge myself today. Use the strength we found in all those other poses to lead up to this moment of maybe finding balance in half moon. Hands to the ground, slowly step back and find your way toward downward facing dog. Left leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Step through to the top of the mat, warrior two, just so we can set ourselves up for the journey forward into balancing half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Hands to the ground, step or flow your way back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Right leg up, three-legged dog, step through, warrior two. As you set up for warrior two, set your sights out in front of you. Round 2 of 2 in half moon pose. We are not going to do this a third time. That was just a little special gift for the triangle pose, or for the lovers of triangle pose, I should say. Release. Bring your hands down, step back, and make your way toward your dog pose. Left leg to the sky, step through last standing posture of our practice today. Lean out in front of you, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Hands to the mat, step back. Flow your way toward downward facing dog. Once you get back to your down dog, go ahead and drop into a seated position. Take a moment to yourself. This is a time where you could grab a sip of water. You could roll your wrists around. I like doing these little elbow mobility drills because I have a little tendonitis in my elbow. You could roll the neck around. I want to just leave some moment to kind of take what you need after doing all those poses and holding them all for a few breaths. Kind of come back into yourself. Find this calm after the steady storm, the steady rain. Knowing that rain is beautiful, rain nourishes the soil, but it's what happens after the rain that's special. We'll go ahead and lie down on the back into Shavasana. Palms face up by our sides. I like to bring my feet nice and wide just because it feels nice to open my body in that way. If there's any props or support that you enjoy in Shavasana, like a blanket or a pillow, or maybe adjusting your position, take what you need to find comfort and ease so that you can practice stillness. And we'll give ourselves a few minutes of Shavasana. I will guide us out in a few minutes. Take a deep breath or two at your own pace. Maybe take some little stretches or movements to bring you back into the sensation of the physical body. Maybe you bend the knees, maybe you roll over to one side or the other. We will begin to lift ourselves up into a seated position. As we come to our seat, you can rest the palms in your lap or at heart center. Lift tall through the crown of the head. Gonna end the practice by sharing a mantra. And this mantra is basically a invocation for Ganesh and just trying to seek the removal of our obstacles. So regardless of the obstacles that you have present in your life, regardless of what path you're on, regardless of who you are, where you're from, where you're headed, where you're ending up, right? This is a prayer to everybody, every being, that their soul be free of obstacles or have the strength, the courage, the calmness, the presence to move through these obstacles with ease. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvadam. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvadam. Om. I bow to each of you. Much love and much peace. May you have a blessed day. Hope to see you again soon. Until next time, peace.